Hi guys and welcome back today. So I'm going to be showing you how to make this gorgeous kimono dress today. Guys, this dress is so beautiful. I literally fell in love with this dress after making it, no jokes. So if you want to see how I did it and how I achieved this gorgeous dress right here, you want to keep on watching up to the end of this video, okay? So these are the two main fabrics that I'll be using. I've got this black fabric which will be used on the neckline and the hem of the sleeve, and I got my main fabric which is Ankara. Okay, at this point I basically just folded my fabric into four, and I'm going above that hemline by 1.5 inches, and that is to create the border from where all my shoulder measurements will be taken from. All right, having done that, the next step would be to take my shoulder width. I'm using 9 inches because this is a kimono and you want it to be as free as possible. Then I'll be taking my neck width, which is 3 inches from the back, and I'm marking 3 inches for my neck width and 1.5 inches for my neck depth on the back neckline. I'm just going to connect those points together using dotted lines. I'll be using 1 inch to create my shoulder slope, and that is what you see me marking at this point. And I'm just going to connect it to that neckline point, and it should look something like this. Then next up, from that borderline we drew earlier, I'll be taking the armhole, and I'm using 9 inches from my armhole depth. Then I'm just going to connect it back to the shoulder and create the neckline for this piece, and this is what it looks like. Next up, I just marked out my bust point, my waist point, my hip point. I did do this on camera because you guys have seen me do this so many times. What I'm going to do next is to take a quarter of my body measurement, and I'll be adding 2 inches to the quarter of my body measurement just so it's free and it's easy to wear and it's easy to wrap around my body. So at this point, I have 2 inches extension or 2 inches allowance added to quarter of my body measurement, and I just went ahead to cut that out. For my front neckline, I basically marked out where the back neckline starts from, and I'm tracing it down using dotted lines from that shoulder all the way to the hem. I'm tracing it down using dotted lines, ensuring that those dotted lines are actually straight, and that is to create the guide for where my front neckline would start. I went ahead to cut it out, and I have two pieces for my front neckline because this is a kimono, of course. So I have two pieces for my front neckline, and these are the two pieces laid out here. And I have one whole piece for my back neckline, which for my back piece, I have one whole piece, and this is what it looks like. Then currently I'm just notching that bottom point where the hem is. I added 2 inches allowance for the hem at the bottom. So to sew, I placed all the pieces right sides facing, and I pinned all the shoulders together as well as the sides. So I have pins holding the shoulders together, as you can see. I'm going to sew those shoulders down, or sew the shoulders down using 1/2 inch on both shoulders, and on the sides as well. I have pins holding the sides together. I'll be sewing both sides by 1/2 inch seam allowance on the left and another 1/2 inch seam allowance on the right. I'm just going to go do that and show you guys what it looks like. So I went ahead to cut up my sleeve, and this is my sleeve. So my basic sleeve circumference is 12 inches, so it's 6 inches on fold, but I added an extra 6 inches, so I'm using added 6 inches allowance to my sleeve, or 6 inches extension to my sleeve, so it's 3 inches on fold on either side. This is the black fabric that I'm using on the neckline as well as the hem of the sleeve. I'm just going to cut out straps that are 6 inches wide with this fabric, and these are the straps after cutting. When attaching the straps to the main fabric, since it's 6 inches wide and that is definitely way too much, I'm going to fold it into two like this. So when I fold into two like this, I'll be left with 3 inches, and I'll be using 1/2 inch to sew it, and that is how I'm going to attach this black fabric to the neckline and the sleeve hem. After joining my shoulder as well as the side seams together, this is what it looks like. And see, the shoulders are joined both sides of the garments are joined as well, and I joined them using half an inch seam allowance on the left as well as on the right part of this garment. I went ahead to fold in the bottom hem as well. I used 2 inches for my hem allowance. You can fold it in with whatever measurements you added to the length of your garment. I added 2 inches, and that's why I hemmed the bottom with 2 inches. For the black straps, I had to join 2 straps together just so it's long enough to go around the entire neckline. But if you have a very long fabric, there'll be no need to do this, okay? So I'm just going to fold that black strap in like this, wrong sides facing, and I will be taking my main fabric. On my main fabric, I basically notched the back neckline at the middle point, and that is where that joining on that black strap would sit. So that joining would sit at that notch point, which is the center back neckline, while the other pieces would go along the entire neckline. And to attach the black strap to the main fabric, I'm basically going to fold it into 2 like I showed you guys, wrong sides facing, and I'll be placing it on the right sides of my main fabric and pin it down, ensuring that it's firm and secure. So I'm just going to go pin it down and show you guys what it looks like. So when pinning, you don't want to stretch your black fabric or any fabric that you're using to attach to your main fabric. You don't want to stretch it. You want to ensure that it's relaxed and easily and nicely pinned to the main fabric. So at the hem of this, you can see that I gave a little bit of extension. The black fabric tends to be longer, but I'll be showing you guys why I did that. So to sew this down, I won't be sewing from the edge from end to end. I'll be giving about 1 or 1.5 inch opening on either sides of the hem, and I'll be showing you guys why I did that later on. Having sewn the strap to the main fabric, I'll be showing you guys now how to close this hem and why I left the hem open. So I'm just placing the black strap onto the main fabric, which I've already stitched the hem of the main fabric, and I'm just going to notch where that hem stops just to create a guideline when I want to stitch that black strap up, that black strap closed. So I'm just going to notch where the hem of the main fabric stops, and I'm going to notch with just a tiny little stitch or a tiny little cut actually. Then to sew that, I'm just going to flip it in. I'm going to fold it in, not the main fabric. I'm just folding in this black fabric. I'm just see how I'm folding it in. I'm just going to fold it in like this and sew it down from that notch point, from that very notch point that I cut earlier, and I'll be sewing it from that end to the other end using a straight stitch, then cut off the excess fabric that is left. So having stitched it down, this is what it looks like. You see that I cut off the excess fabric and I turned it right sides out. So when you're turning it right sides out, you want to ensure that it's pointy at the tip and it's evenly turned out. So after turning it out like this, I can now stitch it back to the main fabric from top to bottom, or just basically close that opening that was left initially. And that is it for the main body of this dress. So now we'll be moving over to the sleeve. For the sleeve, I did basically the same thing. I folded that black strap into 2 before attaching it to the hem of the sleeve. Then I'm just going to turn my sleeves right sides facing. I'm going to fold my sleeves into 2 right sides facing and join the sides of that sleeve using half-inch seam allowance before attaching it to the main body of the kimono. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's really easy, really simple, and this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe, guys. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Join the family so you'll be the very first to know. And when you subscribe, turn on your post notifications so you'll be the very first to know when I upload new videos. Okay, bye guys.